It is an ongoing problem at many schools.
It's so sad and frustrating as a senior to watch how nothing has changed.
This issue needs to be addressed.
My name is Tyler Sen. I'm the 712 principal and co-athletic director. My role as co-athletic director is basically mostly scheduling and facility type things, which ties into my responsibilities as 712 principal as well. I think our biggest struggle with our winter activities is just finding adequate gym space for our student athletes to practice. At times are more conducive rather than practicing at 6 in the morning or 6 at night, or having to go to the rec center, or practicing in a smaller facility like the wrestlers have to do at Roosevelt, and then just the opportunity for the necessary locker room space that those activities need.
Wayne Heckman, Superintendent of the Bowman County School District Number 1, home of the Bulldogs. I would say my role in athletics is working in collaboration with our two co-ADs, Mr. Sen and Ms. Cristaldi. So during the winter, a lot is weather conditions and traveling. I tend to get stressed out a lot about the late afternoons with weather conditions, and do our student athletes, are they able to get home safe after practices?
My name is Jonah Nace. I'm a freshman in high school and I play basketball. I think one of the big issues is the schedule of our practices. I think a 6 o'clock practice at night isn't really that realistic, because the people that live out of town, it takes them a long time to get home, and you can't really expect them to perform well in school and in sports with these conditions.
My name is Phil Welderly, and I am the head volleyball coach at Bowman County. I would say scheduling practice times and where they can practice are your biggest issues.
My name is Lindsay Erickson. I advise the drama club, and I am in my 13th year. With my own kids, I see it with early morning practices or late night practices, as well having to wait for other teams. And that cuts into kids' family time, it cuts into their time at home, homework time as well, because if they want to participate, practices may not always be after school. They may be later on in the evenings or in early mornings.
My name is Ellie Powell. I'm a senior. I've been starting basketball varsity for 4 years, and I've been a captain for 3. We definitely do not have enough room, and it is just very sad for me to see that, seeing how junior high has morning practice constantly and how their season is so short, and yet they still have to go to Rame and they have to go to the rec center, and they don't even get to use our home gym, and our varsity teams have to practice late when our coaches have families and we have homework and everything, and it's just, and our wrestlers have to use the elementary gym. It's just so frustrating to see that a change hasn't happened in many, many years.
How do you think we can solve these issues?
I would like to see us do an expansion to provide more space and facilities to help better manage those areas and provide a better experience, so to speak, for our student athletes. More gym space, better, more expanded wrestling room, weight room, fitness center, those types of things. When we talk about adding gym space, that's been a topic that's come up quite often and for quite a few years now. But also, if we add gym space, how can we tie something in to that for more seating, so that we can expand maybe tournaments or host more tournaments? What can we do to tie in our fine arts with maybe a stage in that area, so we have a stage along with some seating and gym space?
We don't have a stage at Bowman County High School, actually on our grounds. We practiced when I started at the rec center, but even now that has been converted into storage space as well. But there's no actual stage for us to perform on, to practice on, and that's kind of a determined when it comes to blocking and stage time and lighting as well. If we had the appropriate facilities to compete, let's say a stage, we would do much better than what we have in the past. I know it was very difficult to know diameters and know where your lights are going to be placed at. You could be a lot more creative with your ensemble work, with your productions, if you actually had a true facility. It's like playing basketball without a hoop or without a court, or not knowing where the boundaries lie. In drama, it's very difficult to practice without an actual stage.
The best way to alleviate this issue is by building another facility. We only have one lifting area, and that gets very crowded very easily. The equipment is very old up there and can be hazardous. Only having one gym causes many problems, like I've stated before, and it's just the fact that our varsity team, like the wrestlers, have to use the elementary gym. To me, that just doesn't seem fair, and how our varsity basketball teams have to go to the rec center or everything, when we should just be able to have another gym here that would be much utilized, more than people probably think.
Well, I see the two biggest issues with something that I personally envision would be what the site will look like and where can we build where it's cost effective and can be a benefit to what we're trying to accomplish.
You know, right now we are actively discussing in our building committee, and that's where we've first wanted to approach that with our school district. So within our building committee, we have 2 school board members and myself. We have started the research process of what it would look like for additional square footage for our facilities. What would that look like on the academic side and the extracurricular side? Right now, it's preliminary discussions, but the last couple meetings that we've had, they've been great discussions and a lot of discussion on what that vision would look like for our school district in the short term and long term.
I don't really see any major headaches with it. It's just a matter of all the staff getting on board again and just pulling out the drawings and go, because they are, when I say those drawings are done, those drawings were done to the level of complete structural, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, architectural drawings were all done. We could go out to bid and build it. There would be zero design required. My name's Dan Peterson, and after high school I went to Wahpeton for 2 years and got an associate's degree in architectural drafting and estimating. Then I transferred up as a junior to NDSU, got my bachelor's in construction management and engineering. Probably in around 2017, 16, 17, the school, we purchased the land just north of Roosevelt. There were 2 lots right there. And so we have a set of drawings and a complete set of plans completed to add on a gymnasium up there.
Yeah, the addition of a gym has been brought up in the past. It was pushed along pretty significantly, approximately 6 or 7 years ago, and we had some drawings completed and a concept made for that.
I mean, it costs a lot of money. It costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to design something to the point that we have a set of drawings and specifications sitting in the high school right now that you could save, and you could put that out for bid right now, and you could start construction after school got out this spring if you really wanted to.
We got to take a look at our budget. We got to take a look at what would a project, if we were to increase square footage for our campus, what would that look like? And what can we afford? And so we are researching and starting that process of what ultimately is that number that we can afford as a school district.
So I would anticipate that the project of this size is going to be in the, let's just say, 3 to 4 million. And so now you need to understand how the school allocates tax money for the for what they call the building fund. So anyone that pays property taxes, some of those property taxes go to the school. And the money that the school gets divided up into different accounts that is set up in, the board sets this up. And some of those automatically go into the building fund. They just go in there for a rainy day. And so I don't know where that fund sits, but I know that in general, that the school would put annually into that account right about $200,000 a year. Just gets put into the building fund account. The school has the ability to, I think, pull that off.
And then within that, we take a look at what does the funding model look like, and where does that funding come from? Does it come locally, from the state, from grants? Does it come from the federal level? Can it come from all of those entities to help us look at our vision, both short-term, long-term for our facilities? And then just working together on trying to make sure whatever that dollar amount is that we can afford, how can we maximize the square footage as much as possible to incorporate academic space and extracurricular space to our advantage.
It seemed like we were very far along in this project, but what actually stopped it from getting constructed?
I believe at that time there were just a lot of different scenarios going on within our school district, and I believe the school board just made the decision to kind of put a pause on that building expansion and focus their energies elsewhere.
So it seemed like this project was ready to get off the ground, but what stopped it from happening?
Bowman County Superintendent, who was dismissed from his job last spring on drug charges, has reached a deal. Last spring, law enforcement found marijuana, multiple pieces of paraphernalia, and a marijuana plant in Dave Mann's home. He was charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of drug possession and 2 felony counts of child endangerment. Mann initially pleaded not guilty to all charges, but he has now reached an agreement with the state's attorney's office. According to the deal, his charges will be expunged if he isn't charged with another crime for 365 days. Mann was placed on administrative leave back in April by the Bowman County School Board. He was officially discharged last summer.
It was put off because the superintendent at the time that was a part of the driving force on this had some issues with the school, and all of a sudden he became the focus of the school, staff, school board, and faculty, and this thing just got pushed to the back. He was one of the driving forces back. He saw the value in this, but the focus of the school board shifted from this gym to having to deal with finding a new superintendent. That took quite a bit of time. So the complete focus just shifted. Hey, we got to get a superintendent in place. We got to deal with this superintendent. Then the school had an interim superintendent, and they finally got Mr. Heckerman hired. And being on the school board, and I've been through hiring several superintendents and several principals, it's a lot of work. And so there was just not enough bandwidth for the school board to do both things at once.
And I'm pretty excited to work with our school board right now for this process, for the students, for our teachers, and for our community. I think we want to be proactive. We want to continue to look ahead. We want to look at both a short-term and a long-term facility plan, and that's kind of what we're establishing right now.
I would definitely say that this just needs to be brought up again and really looked at. It's definitely been brought up before, but I feel like our school board and just our administrators need to take time and actually dig deep into it and talk to the community members and us athletes, because as a senior athlete, it is just so devastating to see that we only have one facility and that there are other schools in our region and everywhere else in the state that have 2, 3, 4 gyms that they can use, where we are still struggling to just have one.
No, I think it's important that you guys are taking the lead on this. It's been talked about a number of times through different superintendents, and I know it's something that our administration has always kept an eye on, and whether or not we can afford to expand or not, but pushing it forward and shedding some light on it is, hopefully going to do some good.
I'm excited about the process and where we're at and how we're moving forward. I think we're laying a good solid foundation to make sure we provide the best facility possible and answer as many questions as possible. And in the end, if it's not a good fit, then it's not a good fit. But I think doing what we're doing and the avenues we're looking at, that we're going to be able to provide and look at something that's going to have a big impact on our school district and our community. And it's just going to take some time and a lot of legwork and a lot of problem solving and a lot of thinking outside the box to get something that we're going to be proud of as Bowman County School District.